This West Ham season preview edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks, content and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with a $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Parlay Play. Parlay Play is a lead pipe lock-in for parlay and player props. Go to parlayplay.io. Use the promo code SGP for a 100% deposit bonus today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. We are continuing, or shall I say, finishing our 20-day, 20-team season preview for the Premier League. Like those marathon runners, you know, at the end, we're getting a tinfoil blanket on in a Mars bar, Baz. We've done it. We no longer have to spend all this time together. Are you happy about this, or is it making you cry?
I'm delighted we're over it, to be honest. It's been attritional, hasn't it? It's been a slog. I think those who joined us at the beginning probably found us far more enthusiastic about these season previews than the ones joining us at the end. But
you see, I don't think that's true. I think I've maintained a level of professionalism all the way through. But
I'm suffering with fatigue. Sorry to those who've had to wait 20 episodes. West Ham fans have had to wait 20 episodes. We had a bit of bit of grief from Villa fan last night, didn't we? Saying, how long have I got to wait for this Villa one? So we pushed him into number 18. We got
we actually moved that entire show up one spot just because one man complained.
Because Wayne got in touch and complained. To be fair, he said he's listened to every single one, so he deserves to get his Villa show out a day early. Almost at the end. I said to you today, it's been quite fitting that we've waited till last to do West Ham because they've done absolutely nothing in the transfer market until today.
It's all happened.
And then it's all happening, so we will have something to talk about in terms of West Ham transfer activity.
Yeah, we'll get onto that in a minute. The plan for the next 20 minutes or so is to have a look at how we think West Ham might go in the upcoming season. We make some betting picks based on our opinions. And we'll have a look at the Fantasy Premier League as well, see if there's any West Ham players that might make it on to our radar. And one of the first things we've done in all of these shows, Baz, general West Ham United related thoughts, how much we don't like them. Because we don't like anyone. It's not a problem. We don't expect you to like us either. West Ham, Baz?
Not bothered. Not really.
Not bothered?
No, what about you? I don't know. I feel like they're a team I should dislike more than I do.
Yeah.
No.
I know what you mean, yeah, because not many, I don't think generally they're very well liked.
I don't think they are a popular set of fans or team amongst other people, but I'm just not that bothered.
But then I think that goes back to the old 70s hooligan days, though, doesn't it? They had a bit of a reputation, so that's just, I mean, like modern football, really, there isn't much. They've kind of done very similar to Newcastle and sort of gone up and down the divisions a little bit. Whenever we were back in the 80s, when we were in Division 2, West Ham were sometimes there. I've been to West Ham twice, Baz. So the second time was at the new stadium under Rafa Benitez, and we never got a kick of the ball at all. We had a good day. We went to Soccer AM in the morning with the kids. Me and Lee took the two kids, and that makes us sound like a couple. Well, we're not. Me and my mate Lee, and we've got a child each. And we took the kids. So we went to Soccer AM. Jimmy Bullard was on, and it was Tony Bellew. It was all right, you know. It was quite good fun. The kids enjoyed having a look around. We got shown around the studios. We managed to get in the Soccer Saturday studio as they were recording Soccer Saturday. And they went to adverts, and like Jeff Stelling beckoned the lads over, and they just ran around the set like that, waving their arms about for 30 seconds while the adverts were on, and then quickly had to run off while the producer was shitting their pants that they were going to be on screen when they came up. And then we went to West Ham for the tea-time kick-off, and I've got absolutely battered. It was in the midst of the who's better, Declan Rice or Sean Longstaff argument. And then Sean Longstaff hurt his knee and was never the same for about 2 years. Obviously, Declan Rice has gone on to great things. And Lobby's on his way back, actually. He's closing the gap again between the two. But the other time I went, and this was is it a better story? You tell me, Baz. Were you a big Sabutio player, Baz?
Not massively, no.
No, but I mean, you're aware.
I had friends who had Sabutio, so I would play occasionally. I was never very good at it.
If you bought Sabutio set any time from 83 up until, I would say, the mid-90s, there's a picture on the box, the big box where you got the original set that's had the pitch, the goals, 2 teams, like your starter pack. And it was Luther Blissett getting round the back stick for Watford, sticking one into the top of the roof of the net at Upton Park in 1983. And I was at that match, West Ham v Watford, when I was like 8 years old. Family trip to London. This was in the days before men went shopping. So the women went shopping, like my mum and my auntie and that. And we went to football. So my dad, Uncle Colin, me, and went to football, went to watch West Ham v Watford. And I didn't really remember anything about it. But I know that Luther Blissett knocked that in after 3 minutes. West Ham came back to win 2-1. And it was always reminded of us ever since, because whenever I went in, I used to get a lot of Sabutio stuff. But that picture was on the box the whole time. Like, but yeah, not really. I can't remember any really. We got the 8-1 there when we played. We had 3 goalkeepers famously in the 1980s. Peter Beardsley ended up in goal. We lost the 8-1. But yeah, there's not that many memorable games really. West Ham have they've had a couple of good seasons. I think what surprised both of us, Baz, we said at the end of last year, was how much we kind of enjoyed watching them win that cup. Like, are you twisting your face a bit now? I'm sure at the time you were all right with it. This has gone away a bit now.
As well, though, I didn't care. I mean, I wasn't hugely bothered, but I wasn't sitting there cheering them on in the final or anything.
No, neither was I.
And obviously, when they started throwing pine cups at people and things like that,
yeah,
thinking, I hope they get beat. But, yeah.
I suppose, like, obviously, we've never had that, and when you were watching that, you were watching the subsequent celebrations. You kind of, I was just thinking, how can you begrudge sort of a fellow football supporter who's had a similar time with you, like similar time as you over the years? How can you begrudge them that trophy? Like, and I was all right with it. Where I just must be getting a little bit less bitter and twisted than I always was. Any West Ham fans who have found this late before the season starts, can you come and join us regularly? We do 2 shows a week. The first pick show will be going out live soon, but you probably missed that because this isn't going out live. But we give out picks for all the Premier League games on a weekend. We'll review them on a Sunday or a Monday night with any midweek stuff, any AFL or Champions League, European, international, whatever's going on. We'll have a look around and we make some picks. We sometimes do okay. Barry dominated the AFL last weekend, 60-1 double he put out, and a 90-1 underdog treble. He gave out 3 underdogs and they all hit for a 90-1 acca. Sometimes we do okay, sometimes not so much, but we always have a giggle doing it. Spotify, Apple, Google. Twitter is at SGPN Premier, and YouTube is Premier League Gambling Podcast. We've got a listener league for fantasy. We'll give the code out for that when we come to that in a little while. But we can get stuck into West Ham. I'll tell you first about our Patreon, the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon, for exclusive access to contests like the NFL Win Totals contest. It's got a $1,000 first place prize. That's a lot of money. They've also got weekly contests for the patrons, the SGP Stories podcast. The Discord channel is a beauty. So, yeah, you can help us in the rage against corporate gambling. Do your part. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. So, by the numbers, but as West Ham finished last year, 14th position with 40 points. To win the league, they are 500-1. Top 4 finish is 40-1. Top 6 finish is 14-1. The top half finish is 13-8. Bottom half is 4-9. Relegation is 8-1. To finish dead last, they are 40-1. And on the handicap, they're getting 39 points. Like I say, this is a weird day to join West Ham. I think we haven't done them last on purpose. However, it's fallen quite nicely because if we'd done them one day last week, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. It would have bbeen a bit negative. However, today, there's kind of pluses and minuses because they've done some business today. They picked up Harry Maguire. We've both said, I think that's a decent signing. Like, I mean, this is a player who's played international football to a high standard, played very well for England in those tournaments. And any player can have a bad run at a club. And obviously, it doesn't make them a terrible player. Maguire will be absolutely fine. And then just about 20 minutes ago, James Ward-Prowse was confirmed. I got the here we go off Fabrizio Romano to say James Ward-Prowse is signed. Really good player. A replacement for Declan Rice, who they lost to Arsenal for all that money. However, on the flip side, there's been talk of Lewis Paquetá heading off to Manchester City, subject to a £70 million bid. So, Baz, what did you make of all of that today?
Well, I mean, it's something that needed to happen, wasn't it? I think they're finally getting around to doing some business. I think they just needed to be far more active in the transfer market earlier than this, because the Rice saga went on and on and on, but we all knew where it was going to end up. He was going to go regardless of how long it took. And it just seems mad that they've got to 2 or 3 days before the season starts, having not signed anybody. So I think the signings that have come in are good. I think Maguire is another one who needs the move. He hasn't just turned shit overnight. I think he'll do okay. And Ward-Prowse is quality. He's not Declan Rice, but he's 70 million cheaper than Declan Rice, and he'll do a good job and chip in with some goals, because that's where I think the problem is here. I just don't know where the goals are coming from, really, with West Ham. I mean, I think the Europa League last year clouded over what was a very poor season for them. I said on last night's show, I think David Moyes would have been gone from West Ham if not for the Europa run, which gave him a bit of a stay of execution. Listen, I mean, West Ham will take a poor season and a trophy all day long. Absolutely. They had all the glory at the end of it, and everything else is quickly forgotten about. But I think they're going to have to up their game. And I just think they should have been a bit more active, a bit quicker. I mean, great bringing in James Ward-Prowse, but if the next thing that happens is Paquetá goes to Man City, they're looking light again already. And Antonio is another one who might yet leave, being linked with a Saudi move. So they've already lost Rice, Skamaka, Vlasic, Masuaka. I just think that I still think it's going to be a hard start to the season for West Ham, personally.
Yeah, I think that European trophy absolutely polished the turd of what was an awful season, because even up until we went and beat them 5-1 down at their place, and that was in April. And at that point, they were right in the shit, absolutely right in the shit. They did put all their eggs in one basket into that European trophy. And if they'd won that and got relegated, I mean, as a Newcastle fan, I would snap your hand off to exchange. I would exchange that. That's absolutely no problem at all. But they were absolutely terrible for large parts of the season. I mean, they lost 7 games in 8 between October and mid-January. And really, it was 4 home wins, 4 important home wins, Baz, against Everton, Forest, Southampton and Leeds. So 2 relegated teams, Everton and Forest, who were absolutely awful away from home. West Ham's away form was shocking. They won 3 and drew 3 of 19 games. So they played a very, very dangerous game, West Ham. They've lost their best player. They only scored 42 goals last season. And like you said, Baz, I just don't know where the goals are going to come from. They've got some good players. Jared Bowen is an excellent player. Ward-Prowse is an excellent player. Don't mind Maguire at the back. I'm just really not keen. There's nothing different to last season when they weren't very good. And as always at West Ham, a little bit like Newcastle pre-oil money, they seem to lurch from crisis to crisis. Like, they had what an unbelievable opportunity on the back of a European trophy win to just build a foundation, just to set a floor. Right, this is our floor now. We'll add him, we'll add him, we'll add him. And then it's okay, we're going to get ransacked for our best player. Let's spend the money pretty quickly on 1, 2, 3 players that we need. And they just haven't done that. Like the owners have perpetually had this uneasy relationship with the supporters. So yeah, it's going to be tricky. Like you do get the impression that there's an implosion always around the corner. You gave out David Moyes last night, didn't you? We did the £1 million show, and you gave out David Moyes as a possibility in the sack race. As far as bets go, Baz, I've got them in 15th place, and the signings that they made today don't really move that needle for me. I like Ward-Prowse, he's good. However, he's just replacing West Ham, and he was great last year, and Southampton got relegated. So it's not like he's going to drag the team by the bootstraps and pick up 12 or 15 points on his own. I think there's enough bad teams to keep them up. It's hard to pick a bet for them because obviously I don't think they'll go down. I don't think they'll be sniffing the top 6 or the top half particularly. Certainly not the top half at 13-8. The handicap doesn't interest me even a little bit. So I've got 2 picks here. I have found one positive one because the first one's going to be a bit of a Debbie Downer for West Ham fans. And it's West Ham to finish below Nottingham Forest. And that price is 9-4 plus 225. I think Forest finished the season well, have consolidated. I think they're going to go okay. And I don't see why they won't do better than West Ham. The positive one, which I picked out, it's a top scorer pick, Baz, because who's it going to be? Do you know what I mean? You just said Skamakas gone. We don't know about Antonio. They might go and sign a striker between now and the transfer window closing. A £40 million striker who might go and get them 10 or 12 goals, and that person will be heading the market. At this point, you've got Jared Bowen leading the market. He's at 11-8 plus 137. 6 goals last year. So doesn't look a particularly competitive heat like. I've got 2 options here. I consider Danny Ings just because he might have to play. You've got to stand someone up front. And he's not a terrible striker. If he played 34 games, he would get 10 goals. However, I'm going to go with Saeed Benrahma at 13-2 because he is going to play. He got 6 goals last year, the same as Bowen. Yet he's 5 times the price of Bowen. And he gets on set pieces as well. Gets on penalties, gets on free kicks. I think he's a good player. They haven't got a huge amount of alternatives. So it wouldn't take many for Benrahma. 8, 9, 10 goals might win this. So that would be my positive one in West Ham. Benrahma, top scorer, 13-2 plus 650 Baz.
Yeah, so I the same as you. I'm quite low on West Ham this season. I think they'll more likely be struggling towards the bottom end and challenging around the sort of top 10 mark. So for that reason, it is hard to find a match where you can find sort of West Ham to finish above anyone because the teams I do think they'll finish above against. Sort of the bookies and the prices are a bit short. So I'll put out again what I said last night. I think Moyes to be the first manager sacked is still one I like. I think he doesn't even have to have a terrible start for him to get the sack. I think he's on a very short leash with both club and fans. He's 4-1, Malcolm, so we didn't have a price last night because Lopetegui had just gone. So 4-1, Moyes first to go. I'd looked at the scorer market and thought the same. Bowen 11-8 is a bit too short, so need to look elsewhere. And I was looking at the same sort of things, Benrahma and Ings. I feel they've got to bring a striker in. Surely there must be a forward coming in. That's the only concern on that front.
Yeah.
So I'm very much like you, Malcolm. I've got Moyes to go first at 4-1, and then I've found a team to finish above them rather than West Ham to finish above a particular team because I can't get a decent price on any of those. It's Burnley for me. I think Burnley will finish above West Ham at 13-8, which is plus 187.
No, that's 15-8. You get that wrong every day, Baz. Plus 162.
62, that's the one.
Certainly, if you're low on a team, we've said this before, I've got West Ham finishing 15, so there's no value in them to finish above the teams I've got down there, Luton, Bournemouth, Everton, Sheffield United. So unfortunately, you've got to pick. There is value in those teams that you think are going to go okay, Burnley and Forest. when they get this Ward-Prowse thing over the line, that he would interest me as a top scorer, just because he might nick these Benrahma for the same reason he's given Benrahma. He'll nick these set pieces. He might get on penalties. He scored from open play. If he gets to 8, I mean, West Ham don't have a very good record of signing strikers, particularly. I think Skamaka is a really good player. He'll go back to Italy, and that's one of those sod's law things. He'll go back to Italy, he'll knock in 17 league goals this year. But they did it with Haller, who came in and couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo. He went back to Germany and finds the onion bag. They've done this quite a lot. They should get Andy Carroll back, Baz. That's what they should do. So there you go. There's a couple of options there for the Happy Hammers. Fantasy League we will have a look at in a moment. I'll tell you about our new sponsor here. It's exciting. Parlay Play. Parlay Play is an excellent way of getting down on your favourite parlay player props. Football season right around the corner. Parlay Play have got all your props. Parlay Play is available in a ton of states, including California and Texas. Plus, for our friends north of the border, Parlay Play is available in a bunch of Canadian provinces. When you sign up with a code, you'll get a sweet bonus to get started. Parlay Play, we like you, is the Manchester City, Arsenal, Newcastle, anyway, TriCast at 10-1. Head over to parlayplay.io. Use the promo code SGP for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Parlayplay.io, promo code SGP. Fantasy League, Baz. I mean, you're a massive fantasy expert. You're probably one of the best players in the country. You've said before many times. So, West Ham players, Baz, who you fancy?
Yeah, I definitely didn't say that. The standout is obviously Bowen at 7 million because at the moment you struggle to see where else the goals are coming from. Antonio and Ings wouldn't interest me at all, but Bowen at 7 million for a midfielder, potentially. He won't be in the team to start the season, and there's not many that stand out really. They didn't have a single defender over 100 points last season, and that's sort of your starting point from all of your defenders. Even your sort of, you get Botman at 4.5 million, who will probably get you 100 points. The only players to break 100 points last season was Bowen, Benrahma, who you've mentioned, and Fabianski broke the 100 last season. But there is a question mark over how safe Fabianski's starting role is in goal. Areola could yet find himself starting, and even if he doesn't start the season, it might be something that could change within a few games. If Areola does come in, he'll find himself in a lot of squads because at 4 million, he's at the bottom price. You just pick him up as your second keeper and roll him out according to the fixtures. So for me at the moment, Bowen and possibly Areola if he starts. But until we get any details in terms of Ward-Prowse's price and things like that and who else comes in, nothing else for me, Malcolm. There's not a huge amount to get excited about fantasy-wise from West Ham for me.
I forgot to shout out the Listener League, Baz. We've got a Listener League in West Ham fans listening to this. Come and play, fun. We've got some money up for grabs, 150 quid. We've got the Egg in a Cup Cup. We've got some merch, which I am sporting this evening. So come and get involved in the league. The league code is CVVQAB, which is Cole, Valencia, Quasi, Alan, Bishop. Which call was that, do you reckon, Baz?
Joe.
Carlton it was. Carlton. Carlton. Well. Yeah, which Alan?
He was the fullback. Can't remember which one now, though. What's his name? Alan. You tell me.
Martin Allen is the answer.
No, it wasn't
so yeah, CVV. QAB, Nigel Quasi. We haven't had many teams with a Q, so I was delighted when Nigel Quasi popped up. Wayne Quinn played for West Ham as well, Baz. He's made it into about 9 of these different phonetic teams that we've given out. Yeah, West Ham don't keep enough clean sheets, and they only scored 42 goals. The defenders didn't contribute to many of them going forwards, fullbacks bombing on, etc. I've got Areola in my squad at the moment, Baz. I'm rocking 2 4 million goalkeepers. This is the new template, apparently, Baz. It's the new thing. You've got loads of money to spend. I've got Turner from Forest and Areola both in there at 4.
Still a chance Turner doesn't start with, isn't there? They might sign another keeper yet. They're still keen on Henderson. Turner could.
Yeah, maybe.
Second.
Yeah,
but
it
for
will
the moment,
change.
he looks all right.
Yeah, I don't think Forest will keep many clean sheets either. I might have to address that, but I do have Areola in there. I quite like Thomas Suchek. It always looks like he's got a bit more ceiling to me. He looks like he should score more goals than he does. He did get 100 points last year, bang on, and he's very, very cheap. But you could put him in if West Ham start playing better, if they start being a reliable team, really. And other than that, you absolutely covered it, Baz. It's Bowen and Benrahma, and you don't want West Ham because, unfortunately, we've said that we're quite low on them, Baz. So, yeah, that's that. Anything else you want to add about West Ham United, Baz, before we wrap up this entire 20-team ridiculous project?
That brings it to a conclusion for me, Malcolm. It's been a pleasure.
Do you think you might cry?
Nah.
No, he's not going to cry.
I haven't got time to cry. We're about to record the next
one.
Yeah.
We're about to do our picks. Oh, yeah. 16 minutes. Fantastic. Yeah. West Ham fans, if this is your first time listening, come and join us. It's good fun. Like I say, we might pick you a winner. You can join the YouTube live shows, which will be scheduled. You'll put up on YouTube if you subscribe on YouTube and give us a thumbs up. And yeah, I hope you have a good season, West Ham. I hope you finish much higher than 15th. Good luck with all of that. Good luck with your picks. Thanks everyone who listened. We'll see you down the road. Cheers.